sponsors, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for bringing this to the community. And for all of you that bought tickets, thank you so much. For those that didn't buy one. Just remember one thing, it's really, this is all for us, the community. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here. And it's been a long journey to get here. You've wanted me here for quite a while. And I've been asked many times and I have been able to come. I came about 35 years ago. I started coming down Paso. And I spoke at some of the local schools, and I've given myself quite a bit to the nonprofit world here in your community. And I thank all of you for your participation and understanding of this. I am very honored, and I'm emotionally moved. You're going to see something that I think, how many of you have seen Stand and Deliver? Raise your hand. Okay, that's more than 80% of the audience. Quite impressive.
I've never seen it on the big screen.
Saw it in the theater. That went down to about like 10%. So for those of you that get to see it tonight that haven't seen it but saw it on television or maybe saw it in your teacher's class, how many of you are teachers? I love you. I love teaching. I think the teacher is the single most important aspect of our society. Bar none. I really do. I don't know anyone, honestly, that has ever been able to do it or learn how to be the best that they could be without having help. And teacher is how you get there. And their parents, of course, are the very first ones in your immediate family. But boy, you talk about people who have given you the inspiration and understanding of who you are and what you can possibly be. Those are teachers. And so to all of you, I dedicate this film to you. And I said this earlier today, and we're back in a little area where some of the sponsors and people were talking. I spoke to everyone, and I told them, and I want to tell you the same thing. This film is really different. We did it in 1987, and since 1987, it came out in 1988. If it's for me, please tell them. Okay, thank you. Please turn off your phones. I will say this, in my life, I've been able to create a lot of pieces of work, and I'm very thankful, and storytellers is what we are. And tomorrow we're going to do another one, which is one of my most beloved pieces of work that I've had the opportunity to do. And if you haven't seen the Ballad of Gregorio Cortez on the big screen, don't miss it. I'm telling you right now, do not miss it. You will probably never be able to see it on the big screen projected again. You'll maybe be able to see it on television, and many of you do have big screens at your house, but nothing like this. But I will say this, Stand and Deliver has truly been the gift of gifts. Why? Because teachers like yourselves that are here have been using Stand and Deliver since it came out in 1987. And I can tell you that movie has an accolade of being the most viewed single film in the history of film in this country. It's something to remember, it's something to really understand and to appreciate. We as a community understand how great teachers are and how much we appreciate them. And a lot of parts of the world don't, and a lot of people are still trying to make education a political issue, and it isn't. And this is the essence of life, is allowing people to be and understand themselves to the fullest. And so, as far as I'm concerned, I dedicate this film to all of you that are teachers, and I'd say to you now, what you'll experience here is the truth. This gentleman, Jaime Escalante, was an extraordinary person as a human being, period. But then he went on to be able to understand how to give himself and to give such strength to young people, young kids, that they would have the courage to take on a language, mathematics, to the highest level. And that's what it is, it's a language. And as far as I'm concerned, once you learn that language, you can travel anywhere in the world and you can do anything that you want. That's one of the beauties of learning math. So I say to you, enjoy the movie tonight, and I guess you're going to have a little bit of a question and answer kind of a thing right now, and that's going to be fantastic. So I say to you, thank you again, and thank you, Doug, for this honor.
So to fire questions at Mr. Olmos, would you please welcome from Chicago, Laura Emmerich.
Hey, Laura.
I don't think one. Oh, yes, we are. Sorry. Well, thank you so much for being here, Mr. Olmos. It's such a pleasure and such an honor to, be in this wonderful theater, historic theater, in a historic part of the country. And I heard you talk a little bit about the film in the foundation room, and I know you just spoke a little bit now about how enduring this film has been. I mean, did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that this film would have such a life, that's gone on now for going on, more than 35 years, going on 40 years?
All I can say is that no, I had no idea it would be able to understand itself in this manner. Because you gotta remember, this is a story. And what is it about? It's about an inner city school teacher helping students learn how to take a test. Now, that's because, that sounds exciting. I'll never forget when I actually, we were trying to get, people to support the film. I would go to like NBC, ABC, and different companies, and Paramount, Universal, and nobody went back to the movie. The story was not the kind of story that they felt, would be able to be appreciated by the masses, and really. And so they weren't backing us at all. And I remember walking into one company, and they said, "Listen, if we made this movie, and I'll be honest, if you put your movie on, and on the same night our competitors put on Rambo, what do you think they're gonna watch?" Stand and Deliver. It's a better movie. They thought I was cute. Yeah.
You're just being honest.
Very much so.
And then your production company, right,
Yes.
put this together. Can you tell us a little about how? Because I know it was many years in the making, and like you said, it was a struggle to get it to
It took us 5 years to really push it through. It happened in 1983, and then we didn't start making it until 1987, and it finally came out. Like I said, 1988, really. And, but it was a real labor of, what they say, labor of love. You have to realize that we had no ability to find the money we needed until Lindsay Law over at PBS.
Mm-hmm.
He, an American Playhouse, that's what it was called, gave us seed money. It was $150,000. And that started the whole ball bouncing. And then we got 10,000 from this person, 3,000 from this person, 15,000 from this person. We went around, and people started to, believe in it. And of course, it was a true story. So a lot of people really knew what had happened and how it happened. So they appreciated it, even though it was a very difficult thing. You won't believe it. I mean, when you see the film, this fashion, which is a little bit different than watching on television, you're going to get the full impact, the psychological impact, because film is a really strong medium, the strongest medium that human being has ever created to this day. Nothing attacks the subconscious mind, as you know, Laura, more than the audiovisual event, especially when projected on a big screen. It's enough to do it on television. It's very impactful. But when you do it with, no peripheral vision, when you do it, see everybody's facing the same way, looking this way, and you're not paying attention to yourself at all. You're just locked inside of the moment. And everybody's here to doing things, watch a movie. And when that happens, it attacks and goes into your subconscious mind, full stream, right? And it stays here. So this is going to be very impactful for you. And all I can say is we did it. We got the money together. It took us a long time. And I can say that when we started the movie, it became very quickly, we could feel it. And one of the things is when I did the part, Jaime, it took maybe a little under maybe 18, 19 days to shoot the film. And when every single day, Jaime was there. He would be watching me perform. And it's one thing to, perform for people. It's another thing when you're actually doing a real person, and that real person is standing there watching. and he's a doctor, he's a professor, and his whole concept of understanding is to help people understand, themselves and help them advance themselves. So, as a teacher, he's sitting, and all he can do is look at me and say, "Well, that worked. No, that didn't work." In his mind, in his mind. But after every time I finished a scene and I felt good about it, I said, "Well, that worked for me." He would be like this.
That's awesome.
That was his move, I said, "Thank you." Yeah.
And you met him in sort of under unusual circumstances, right? That you met him at a conference, or how did you track him down and convince him to let you make his story, life story?
Well, what was it? The first time I met him at the NAACP awards banquet, yearly awards banquet.
Oh, that's right.
And they were giving out awards, and they were giving out to the head of the Cherokee Nation, Chief Man Killer, and she was there, and Jaime was there, and I was there, and there was two other people receiving awards for different aspects of life. And Jaime was getting it for education, I was getting it for my humanitarian work, and so forth. So that's where I met him, and I had known about the story, because this is just before they flipped and called them cheaters. So this is just before they had said, "Hey, you guys, this doesn't work. You guys cheated." And so they went from being a group of individuals and people, kids, and a community in East LA, part of the barrio. They went from being, overwhelmingly the toast of the town, because they had outscored Stuyvesant and major schools that had the highest understanding of mathematics in the country, especially on that test. And it's a very difficult test to take. I'm sure that we all know the calculus is a language, and you have to prepare yourself to do it. But more than that, it's only like 3% of the kids, high school students, that can qualify to take the test, take it. And only 3% of that 3% score 3 or better, up to 5 points. And if you don't score between 3 to 5 points, then you didn't pass the exam. So it's a very prestigious moment in your life. And so all the students passed it. And all of them were like barrio kids who were like in the movie, you get to see what they were like. And but with all that, these did something incredible, and we were there, and I met him, and I said to him, man, geez, amazing. And so Tom Muska, myself, and Ramon Mendez, Ramon directed it, Tom Muska and Ramon wrote the original script, and I did a rewrite with Jaime, and but with all the people we had, and we did it took years to make it happen, and that's how I met Jaime.
And you remained his friend until he died, right? You drove him back at the end of his life.
Yeah, I was with him all the way through his life. From that moment on, we were friends, and when he passed, he was young. And what I am right now, he died at 76. And it's my age of prison. I know I look good. And I was with him, and I was with him when he passed. I was at his house, and then it was very, very difficult. It was a hard time because he was way too young, and he had so much more to do and wanted to do, and so that's how life is.
And I think he said about the film that he thought it's 90% the truth and 10% is drama, right? Because of the nature of filmmaking, he had to compress the timeline, right? What he achieved, began back in 1974, and then it grew and it grew, and then but that all had to be kind of sped up a little bit for the film, right? And I thought it was interesting the way the film is like, so you were teaching the classroom, and then there's a vignette of the students in their home lives, and it was put together so seamlessly. Was that always the design for this film, to have like the classroom and then the cut to the home life, and see how that impacted the learning process?
Yeah, it was always meant to have that structure, and it was just wonderful. But he was just really had a great way of being. Because I mean, you got to remember, Garfield High School at that time was losing its accreditation as a high school, and it's 98% Latino, and the kids were like running the place, and it was just everything could go wrong in an institution was happening, and nobody would have any more feeling or hope or passion for the school. There was no camaraderie of any kind, and he came into that kind of arena and been mustered by taking pretty basic fundamental kids that were not into taking mathematics. They had to take algebra, they had to take geometry, they had to take trigonometry, they had to take analysis. They hadn't gone through any of the process which is needed to go into do your calculus. They hadn't done anything like that. They were beginning remedial math, math 100, and so he came in as a computer scientist. He was really smart, extremely smart man. I mean, he had done very well in the world of computers and designing programs for computers, and for many years. And then he ended up wanting to get out of that, and so he said, I want to teach. So he wanted to teach computers, and to inner cities, and they put him into Garfield. And when he got there, they said, well, we don't have computers. Shit. Are you kidding? Can you imagine? The scene itself is really kind of like, well, it catches you, And so he ended up, they put him in a math class, and boy, that's when it took off. It really took off. He learned and became who he became as a human being. And it was the best thing that's happened to our community all over the country, because this is not just about, his impact was not just at Garfield, it wasn't just at East LA, it wasn't just a community, a small community that got the impact, that got to flourish. But now that film, like I said, has been seen all over the world, and is being used by teachers all over the world, but especially in the United States of America, to inspire and to give ganas to
also, how did it change you personally? And of course, people know that you were Oscar nominated for the film, and you were the first American-born Mexican actor to get that nomination. No one else has
It changed my life, not only by that accolade, but to this day, it's just so sad. You know, a friend of mine who's here, who's going to be with me tomorrow, Pepe Sedna, who's in the audience, and he'll be with me. He's the co-star of the ballad of Gregorio Cortez. He'll be here tomorrow. And he's got a great book. It's out right now. Life is Art. You gotta get it. It's a great, great book. But, you know, we have been trying like crazy to get an understanding of our films and our stories out. And this one especially, I kind of threw myself off a little bit, but I will say this. Jaime Escalante and the whole idea became now instrumental to the advancement of us as human beings. Much more than just being a Latino themed story. I'm telling you, it's way beyond that. This thing talks directly to the humanity in all of us, whether you're black, white, brown, yellow, red, whether you be from a rich part of town or a poor part of town. It speaks directly to the essence of humanity, and that's what he did. He was brilliant at it.
That's great. And so I know we have to wrap it up because we want to start the movie, because we started a little late because of the demand. So that was wonderful, though. People lining up to see this film. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us with, or
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk for like,
I can talk. At least I used to be able to talk now.
tax your voice.
I will tell you all, if you don't know already, I'm getting over cancer. Cancer of the throat, and I've had it now for almost a year, and I'm clean now. The medical science that we as human beings have been able to advance ourselves in, because it was tough. Throat cancer is a really tough experience for the human species, because other parts of the body, cancer is devastating. I don't care where it hits you, or it just eats the body alive. But when it comes to the throat, it's where you eat, it's where you talk, it's where you breathe, it's where you swallow, it's where you create all your body. It's like, this is it, guys. And when it attacks there, it's really tough. And so, yeah, if you see me a little bit when I'm drinking water, also step here, go through a little bit of a trip to get the water down. And I'm actually, the one thing they told me, the doctor said before I started the treatment for the radiation and the chemo and everything, they said, so the one thing we can't promise you, we have no idea what your voice is going to sound like. I said, are you kidding me? Really? Yeah, and to no way.
Yeah.
You know, you worked with,
Yeah.
Streeter.
Yeah, he lost his voice.
He lost it completely, and his friends of mine died from the radiation and the chemo because it becomes so difficult for this section of the body that it causes wherever, like, a really good friend of mine died of a heart attack. The pressure and the understanding of the body is so intense, you end up causing yourself other kind of problems, and they do. So I'm very grateful, and I'm so grateful that you guys came today, and I'm very grateful that Laura, that you came today to help me understand this moment and to tell Doug and all of the festival. Thank you for being so patient and getting me here, because it took a long time for me to get here, and I'm very proud.
We're so glad you're here, and we all want to stand and deliver.